Yep.
Okay, I would like to call to order the regular meeting of August 5th. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Allen. Here. Brunel. Tacoma. Here. Cordella.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Rumble.
Here.
Thurman.
Here. Okay, we need to approve the agenda at this time, and I would like to make an adjustment to the agenda. I want to take off item E, sidewalk maintenance ordinance is just not ready for us for this meeting.
Can I ask what that was about?
It was an ordinance to have property owners maintain the sidewalks in front of the property. It'll come back. We'll have time to discuss it.
I would like to make a change if I could. If I can ask the board to move an item from correspondence down to discussion.
Which item?
The M15 Heritage Route concerning the Iron Bell Trail.
Okay.
I have a question. Do we need to move down the DDA letters and the library's letters to find out what's been happening with that? And
That is what's been happening.
right, but to, I don't know if there's anything we can do to help.
But if you would, I mean, if you
No,
want
if
to
there's
discuss it,
nothing-
we can. Also, we need to
Do we need
add,
to discuss it, Bob?
I don't need to.
You don't need to. Okay. I know you were kind of,
It seems they're resolving it on their own, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
in place of the sidewalk maintenance ordinance, item E, I would like to put policy amendment for senior van wage increase that I put out on everybody's
Run that one by me again, please.
policy amendment.
Under,
E, new business E.
oh.
Policy amendment for senior van wage increase.
So that will be E, and then F will move down as F.
There will be no
Correspondence if we move F.
to discussion.
To
Oh,
discussion.
to discussion,
Yeah.
sorry. I took it to the.
Policy amendments going to discussion.
No.
Correspondence.
M15 is going to discussion. I put it to the wrong place.
Any other changes to the agenda tonight? Okay, so we don't have item F under correspondence. Let's now move to item A for discussion. And there's no item E for sidewalk maintenance ordinance. It's been changed to item E, policy amendment for senior van wage increase. Okay. All right, would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The agenda has been approved as amended. So now we can move on to our reports. Oh, we have a presentation, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Don't want to forget this. This presentation is for our senior van driver, Pat Reed, who is retiring, and she did not want to come tonight. She was embarrassed.
I was afraid of you.
But we will be presenting to her an award of recognition and appreciation presented to Pat Reed for 20 years of dedicated service as an Edna Burton Senior Center van driver for the Charter Township of Brandon. So, and we'll be giving her a nice plaque. So she's very much appreciated for all the work that she's done for the township. Now we can get into our regular reports. We have our regular treasury report, our general ledger, our designated fund report, our reconciliation report, and building department report. Our new housing starts are still down from last year. Yep. And then we have a recreation report, and our Parks and Rec director is here, and I'd like to elaborate.
Okay, other than what you see on this really quick report I put together, I have met with the DNR a couple times and by email quite often. We're moving forward with some of the excavating. We can't do a lot because we met with the Park Subcommittee tonight and get the print approved of the amendments that got to take place. And that same print is at the office of HRC and Mary Carlock's office in the DNR. This stuff takes too much time in my book, but I'll be having some phone calls with the engineers and Mary Carlock first thing in the morning to see exactly how much further we can move along with this land balancing project we got going on. We put in the paper to have 5 acres excavated of the topsoil so we can start moving clay around, but we really can't do that until certain paperwork is done with the DNR. So that's where we're at with that. Otherwise, it's recreation's been running well. We had a very good baseball season. I more likely I'll sit down with the park subcommittee and get their opinion on it, but it looks like we might have to raise registration fees for baseball next year if we're going to continue to use the certified officials, which umpires that really made the difference. When I looked at my budget, there was about $300 left there, and we've got a couple of little miscellaneous things that we have to do at the baseball program. Other than that, things are going well.
Okay, thank you.
No questions?
Any questions for her?
I'm not sure if this would be the appropriate time to discuss it or not. It was one of the, I'm trying to find the minutes here for your subcommittee, and you made some reference about HRC charging more for an additional study because something was inappropriately planned in the initial one.
What happened was there was one time where apples weren't for apples when the DNR, we submitted a grant for X amount of dollars. HRC's one of their estimates, what they're supposed to do is they're going to say land balancing, basketball courts, or whatever, all these miscellaneous items have to match up with that number that we wrote the grant for.
Right.
Well, HRC was 100+ thousand over that, so DNR said no. They threw it back at them, but to me that's wasted time. They know they got to be matched to match, and we said something to Jamie when he was over here, and that's when he told us that we're allowed, well, the DNR wants 15, at least 15% is all you get back for your reimbursements, 15% of the engineering cost. So Jamie goes, well, what's 15% of the total cost, which was around $82,000. So he said, we're going to keep it there. Anything else we do over and above that, it's going to be a donation from us. So that's where we're at.
Okay, so it's not costing us anything additional for them to go back and redo their study?
No.
No, okay.
That's the latest print, everything's on there.
Jamie, the HRC.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
All right, that was my question.
He's got guys that work under him that's doing all these prints. I just got a spreadsheet today, is how many hours they actually spent on this. It doesn't itemize, it just tells them how many hours they spend on our, there's 3 grants they didn't spend the time on. One we haven't received, but we have to do preliminary stuff to write it with the engineers. So that's where we're at. We'll see what happens.
They're keeping their time all separate, keeping track of it.
Yeah. And we got Scott Broughton on board for the DNR grant. He's going to help me with the reimbursement process. Yeah, that takes time. He'll be logged on to my grants and his efforts with my department and the Treasury Department as well. Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Wayburn?
I'm going home.
See ya.
Happy birthday tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, we also have an Edna Burton Senior Center report, a CDBG report, and that brings us to trustees' report. Chris, would you like to start us off?
I have absolutely nothing to report.
Okay.
No, we didn't have anything substantial last week from the planning commission. I don't remember. No, we didn't have anything, so, no report.
I'm sorry.
Bob,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
Yeah, I have one thing that I'm pleased to see, that all the buildings at Sasheville on Seymour Lake have been raised. They've redone all the land, it's looking really nice, really cleaned up, and it's not going to be an eyesore anymore. And I do have a question, and this goes to the planning commission. The last meeting, we discussed about sending the possible animal ordinance to the planning commission, and I found out it wasn't even scheduled on the planning commission. Did we miss the boat somewhere as how we were supposed to submit that for?
We're going to put it on the next scheduled planning commission meeting. Instead of paying them to come an extra time just to hear that thing, we're gonna add it on.
What's the date on that?
We don't have one.
But
So
you
you-
had, but wasn't there just a planning
Yeah,
commission
there-
meeting last week, so
No.
I wasn't,
Well, it wasn't.
oh, I thought you said there was, but there
No.
was nothing to report,
No.
Chris,
No.
I couldn't hear you down
There
there.
was
No.
no planning commission meeting last month.
No commission meeting.
So what's the process then? You wait till you get X number of items before you actually call a meeting?
No,
Try and get at
we
least
have
a
to get
couple.
one person to warrant having, or one entity to warrant having a planning commission meeting.
Well, isn't that issue,
I thought that's what we did at last meeting.
isn't that issue one thing?
That, it is, but then the township has to pay for the planning commission meeting. If we have someone coming in because they need site plan approval or something else like that, then they have to pay a fee for that meeting.
Okay, so my question then would be, at what point, because there's people that have an vested interest in this, at what point do we tell them, this is the date of the meeting? And so they know, so they can make plans and they can have.
As soon as it's scheduled, I'll send something out to the board, and I had that in my report.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. That's it for me.
Trustee DePalma.
Well, as Fred had mentioned, the Park and Rec Subcommittee had met. We've met twice to discuss the park progress and grants and dollars, and he gave an update, so I don't have to give much more on that. I was sad that I missed the 4th of July fireworks, but we were out of town for the 4th. And I guess going to Bob's, Trustee Marshall's issue, is there any way that when there's other meetings, like for the planning commission, or, I know, do you do email blasts for those, Kathy? Like to a group of, like, you know how when our agenda comes out, there's an email blast to, the citizen gets one, and is there email blasts for the other?
That comes out of the building department.
Okay. I just didn't know if maybe.
And I don't know if they have like a email list of people they sent to other than, say, the citizen and.
Right, I just didn't know if maybe to inform us more so we know what's going on. This was just a thought I had, is that we get blasted when other groups are meeting, so we get all the agendas and we know kind of more what's going on, so we can inform.
Okay, I can
As
ask
for
for that to be
zoning
done.
and planning commission and
Does
even
everybody else
subcommittee.
wants to be on the list?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we have citizens
Yeah.
coming to us. Yeah, we have citizens
Yeah.
coming to us and asking questions. You know, rather than sitting there saying, I don't know. It'd be
Right,
nice if we at least have a schedule for the meetings.
right, when different meetings are happening, yeah.
Okay.
I know some years I only have 2.
And that's fine, as long as I know when they're gonna be,
Yeah.
so we can tell people.
Okay, is that it, Dana?
Yep.
Okay, trustee Rumble.
I don't have anything tonight, thank you.
Okay. Our treasurer is absent tonight, so that brings us to our clerk's report.
Just one page. Thank you guys for coming. Only 14 items. I attended the BGYA meeting on July 9th. There's lots of new programs that are being developed in cooperation with our township library to serve more families in the community. In your correspondence, I included a BGYA survey results, and Scott Broughton was part of that committee that came up with some questions and ideas about, are we doing the right programming for people? How can we reach everybody that needs help? And so on, and I didn't know if anyone had questions for Scott. He offered to answer if you guys had any. Seeing none, you're off the hook. Rosalind Blair, who happens to be here tonight, attended the Oakland County Cemetery Seminar on July 16th to learn about a new program being developed by Oakland County for cemeteries throughout the county. Next year is the 200th anniversary of Oakland County, and they're going to come up with a new program to highlight cemeteries around. On July 14th, I attended the MTA OCCA, which is a Oakland County Clerks Association meeting with Deputy Karen MacArthur to meet our new Secretary of State Joycelyn Benson and Bureau of Elections of Michigan Sally Williams. They both highlighted the new processes that we're all going to have to learn because of the election held last November. There's 3 huge changes for voting. You can vote the day of an election here in this building. You can't go to any precinct. You can register to vote the same day and get your ballot. So that's going to be interesting. We'll see how it works in November. The entire clerk staff has been attending webinars for the election equipment and preparing for our election in November for OCC, which is Oakland Community College, sorry. I wanted to say county. We are accepting election inspector applications in preparations for the elections in 2020, which we will hold 3 elections and need more staff for the presidential election especially. That's always the biggest turnout. So see the Township website, click on clerk, then go to voter link, or stop by the office for an application. The senior center is completely done. The kitchen is done. I'm only waiting for years to say that. It is absolutely gorgeous.
Are you sure?
Yes, it's done.
Everything?
Yes.
100%?
Yes.
Not 99, but 100?
100% the kitchen's done. The
Absolutely.
project's not, or the
Yes.
kitchen.
Oh, no, don't.
The contractor has not come forth with his last payment, final payment, so we're still in this program, but it's coming to an end. So the best project I've ever done since being clerk is, took less than a month to award the bid to get our new parking lot where all the buses are at over at the senior center. We put it out for bids, we awarded it, and it was installed within a month.
That looks nice.
And yes, they did a very, very good job. We have new no smoking signs installed, and we're getting, the lights on the porch are all getting new beauty rings put on them, because they don't need replaced. They're very expensive to replace, but the rings itself around them are rusty and chipped and very old, so. We're getting there. We advertised 2 weeks for the full-time van driver and received 2 applications. And they're going to be in training mode for a little bit and see how it works out. The program year 2018, removing architectural burial, is in the bidding process now, and we hope to have a contractor hired at the September 3rd board meeting, which is on Tuesday next month. It's the first Tuesday of the month due to Labor Day. Brandon Fire Department number 2 will have 2 automatic door openers installed and the customer counter lowered to ADA standards. And Rosalind is working hard on that in my office. That's her project. So, I reserved a seat for the OCCMTA August 1st quarterly meeting with Kathy Thurman in Auburn Hills, and we did attend that, and it was very informative, and we had fun. We went to the Top Golf, which was a nice event. Oakland County Clerk Register of Deeds Lisa Brown was at our senior center on July 25th to provide residents with birth, death, and marriage licenses, property documents, obtain or file a military discharge record, free veteran ID cards, and many other items. 7 people from our township did go there and got services.
How could they have found out about that? Because I didn't know that was going on. And
We
you said
had
that
it-
some of the people attended, so.
It was in the newspaper and it was on our website. And then
I was just curious how it got advertised.
we had it out there. We didn't get very long
Notice.
advance notice from county. It's usually not, but we did get it out there. I got it over to Faye at the senior center right away. And I'd also, this is last, my condolences to the Elbrooks Patterson family, friends, and staff. I'm sure they're going through a tough time. And please have a safe and happy Labor Day weekend. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have one page as well. I wanted to thank everyone who contributed to the fireworks event on July 3rd. It turned out really great, and appreciate everyone that had anything to do with it. As far as road projects, they resurfaced Oakwood Road between M15 and Lease. They plan to finish the project by late August. The road will continue to stay open, but there still may be some delays as they work on the shoulders of the road. Please use your patience. We did have complaints on the flagmen that were hired out there as far as the amount of time they were holding up traffic, but they did have to get that road in, so we're not really the complaint department for that project, but just to let everyone know, we're sympathetic to your frustrations. The Sashaba paving project has also begun, and it won't be finished until late fall. And the shoulder work may not be finished until next year. And that particular road, section of road, is closed through traffic. It's open to those that live on that stretch only. We did receive reports of people cutting through after working hours. So we contacted the Oakland County Sheriffs, and they're patrolling out there, and they are issuing tickets. So we don't want any cut-through traffic through there. And I also understand that someone actually ran into one of the flagmen because they got frustrated out there. So please execute extreme caution in that area.
If I could add something, Kathy. The transitions from the paved portion of Sashaba to the unpaved portion and the intersection of Sherwood itself, across Sashaba, are severe dips. So if you drive that way, be careful, because if you have a small car, you're going to bottom out, and there's severe drop-offs.
And I've heard from the residents on the road that you have to go really slow through there. So if you were thinking of cutting through, you won't like it anyways if you do, so don't do it. So yeah, have some consideration. I attended the Oakland County MTA meeting at Topgolf on August 1st with the clerk. And I was able to meet the new executive director, Neil Sheridan, and discuss the progress of getting a definition for excessive concentration with him, and Judy Allen was also there. So we talked about that. We will be bringing the proposed changes to the animal ordinance that we discussed at our July 1st meeting to our next scheduled PC meeting. Right now, we don't have one scheduled. As soon as I know when it will be, I will let the board know.
Thank you.
The last no-haz collection was July 20th. I had no volunteers, so I had to pay an employee to work there. Our next collection is September 7th, so please let me know if you would like to volunteer
And another wedding that day.
on September 7th.
And a
after that is October 12th. So you might want to write that date down too. Tyler's
I'm sorry, September
12.
12th?
No,
that's-
September
that's-
7th
Okay.
and October 12th.
I know that day.
So, yep, just let me know if you can volunteer. Rosalind actually said she enjoyed it. Okay, and I also wanted to comment that I extend my condolences to Brooks Patterson's family and fellow workers. So it's very sad to hear that news. And thank you all for coming this evening. We'll move on with our agenda. For correspondence, we have Park Subcommittee meeting minutes of January 28th, 2019, ZBA meeting minutes of April 24th, 2019, an AFC license, and,
Yes.
oh,
Before you
and you
move
know
on from
what?
that one,
That one was already on my list, so I don't know if it was a renewal, the
The
license.
Oak Hill?
Yeah, the Oak Hill address.
I did some checking on that too, and my first concern was that it was part of the name which shall not be mentioned. It's not.
No.
But I did find it this interesting that they've actually been operating for a while
Yeah.
under the license of another company.
Oh,
So they just got their new license for their original company. So just because we're hearing stuff for the first time doesn't mean they're not out there. If anybody wants to look over all this stuff, it's,
yeah, and like I said, that was already on my list, registered as AFC home,
no.
so,
I
But I
decided
guess
I was
they
going to
changed
share
it.
those
yeah,
because
that's
I get
fine.
them.
That's good,
Oh,
yeah.
No, it's good too, because I did some research too, so I appreciate that, Candy. It's-
Okay, good.
I like to be informed of what's going on, because when residents come to me, then I can try to answer them.
Okay, we also have the BGYA survey, Edna Burton Senior Center photo updates, painting project. And we have a DDA letter to Brandon Township Library, and then a Brandon Township Library response to the DDA letter. And it looks like, just for your information, they're gonna be working things out.
yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Okay, at this time, we will take citizens' comments on agenda items only. So if you are a citizen that would like to make a comment, we ask that you stand at the podium and direct your comments to the board. We will be happy to answer any questions at the end of the meeting. Please state your name, and although it is not required, we also ask that you state the city, township, or village in which you live. Comments shall be courteous and limited to 3 minutes per speaker. So is there anyone here that would like to speak in regard to an agenda item? Later in the meeting, we'll have non-agenda items. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jay Taylor. I live in Brandon Township. First of all, I want to thank you for adding my resolution to your agenda for tonight. This is on the Enbridge Line 5 pipeline. The truth is, it feels good to say that we're going green. You know, some people, it feels real good to say that we're shutting down fossil fuels and we're going to move to solar energy and we're going to move to wind energy and we're going to have this wonderful situation. But in reality, we're very heavily dependent on oil and gas and propane that comes through this Line 5 pipeline. Specifically, the pipeline has been operating for 60 years without major incident. The independent engineering assessment indicates that it has many more years of useful life. Despite that, the former governor, Governor Snyder, and Enbridge Company came up with a joint program for Enbridge to replace this pipeline at no cost. So yes, there's risk today with a 60-year-old pipeline currently there. There was a plan to replace it, but our Attorney General decided when she got into office in January that she's going to file a lawsuit and shut this down. So in June, she filed this lawsuit. Wants to just close it down, because I feel what she's trying to do is really appeal to I'm going to call it a more radical environmental position, which is let's just stop it. We're going to not have any environmental issues if we just close it down. The truth is that we're all very dependent on that here in Brandon Township as well as across the state of Michigan. It'd be a huge mistake to shut that down. The alternative, if they do shut it down, for us to replace that oil, gas, and propane, it's going to require hundreds, if not thousands, of truckloads and rail car loads of oil and gas and propane to be shipped into the state, which is much more risky than having the pipeline under the Straits of Mackinac. The existing pipeline actually sits on the lake bed, and so if you have a large boat with an anchor and you happen to hit that, you could break that and cause a spill. The new pipeline that was agreed with the governor actually goes under the lake bed in a tunnel, and if that pipeline were to break, it would still be within a tunnel and be protected. So I think it's a much more, better solution than just stopping the pipeline as it is. One of the things they're not considering is the higher cost. The study that I forwarded to the trustees here was 200 and some pages of analytical information. We're going to have higher costs, but then we're also going to have this increased traffic trying to replace this, and it's going to be a real hardship, particularly for the northern peninsula of Michigan. I wanted to mention that Brandon Township is not the only jurisdiction to be asked to pass a resolution like this. It's already been passed in a couple of counties, Houghton and Dickinson. And my Oakland County commissioners told me that it's been submitted to the county, and it's currently in committee where it's kind of being buried by a political party that does not support that. So I just want to say thanks again for considering the resolution. I hope that you bring it up tonight and that you pass it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to an agenda item tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll continue on with our agenda. Next is discussion, M15 Heritage Route resolution by the clerk.
I was actually asked by the treasurer to bring this to discussion because both her and I are not in agreement with it. We're not quite sure how it has to do with us, other than we have communities that want the Iron Bell to come back down M15, and we've said no several times. We can't afford it. I don't believe we can afford any part of it.
That's
So-
why it was just correspondence.
Okay.
That, it's just the position of the M15 Heritage Route
Okay.
Committee.
Who is that?
The M15 Heritage
Yeah,
Route Committee, they,
Is that a county thing?
you actually were a volunteer for it.
Oh, yeah?
When they,
Oh dear.
when they did the car rally up and down M15, that was.
Oh, that was that?
Yeah, and they
Yeah, I did do
also,
that.
they also do the M15 Heritage Route garage sale.
Yes.
So they promote recreation and business from Clarkston to Bay City, up and down M15.
Hmm.
So,
Okay, thank you.
So this, they're just saying they support it?
Yes.
It's not saying, okay.
Right. Yes, this was just a communication sent to us.
that's it.
Yep.
Any other discussion on this? Okay. Next, we have our consent agenda. On our consent agenda, we have regular meeting minutes of July 1st, 2019, special meeting minutes of July 15th, 2019, regular bills in the amount of $193,185.67, prepays in the amount of $116,320.21, township benefits from payroll account of $28,831.70, and trustee timesheets in the amount of $1,224. So any discussion on the consent agenda? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So,
Support.
I have a motion by trustee Marshall, and it is seconded by trustee Rumble. And, is there any discussion? No? Okay, seeing none, roll call please,
Cordella?
What do we,
to approve as presented.
yes.
Marshall,
yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. We have no unfinished business this evening, so we'll move into our new business. And the first item of new business is a new hire in our treasurer's office. We have a proposal from our treasurer. She was unable to be. So excuse me, I'm trying. I told her that I would present it for her, but they have been without a part-time help since the beginning of May. And they placed an ad in the newspaper and the township website, Facebook, and they received 7 applications and scheduled 4 interviews. Anyways, they want to offer the position to Tyler Carl. And Tyler's in our audience right here, and during a few weeks Tyler has been with us. Kim and I have both observed a willingness to learn, courtesy toward our residents, and a friendly demeanor, as we can all tell, with all the staff. So he's very good to work with us, and so I am in favor of this motion. So I'll go ahead and make the motion because I just want to amend it slightly. And that is to hire Tyler Carl as part-time eligible administrative assistant to the treasurer beginning August 6th, 2019, for up to an average of 32 hours per a week at the starting hourly pay rate of $13.45.
Is that what the position was before, was 32 hours?
That's according to our wage. Oh, yes, what it was before,
Right,
yes.
and then the wages
yes.
is a fix too, so yeah.
Okay.
I'll support.
Okay. Any discussion on this proposal?
I guess just one question is this a replacement for someone ever?
Yes.
Is that okay? Thank you, that's it.
Anyone else with a question?
Nope.
Okay, I have a motion by myself, and it is supported by Clerk Allen, to hire Tyler Carl as part-time eligible administrative assistant to the treasurer beginning August 6th, 2019, for up to an average of 32 hours a week at the starting hourly pay rate of $13.45. And it looks like we're ready to vote, so roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Welcome on board. All right, next on our agenda are the principles of governance.
Oh, this is something that we do every time we have a board. I don't know if you want me to read the whole thing.
Necessary.
I don't think it's necessary.
I do have an original, if you guys could sign the original tonight, I'll pass that around and with that blue pen.
Okay.
Sounds good.
What, after we approve it?
Yeah. Yes, if it's approved.
I'll make the motion to
I'll
approve
support
it.
it.
Yep, second.
Made the motion.
I thought you said.
No, I said I support.
Oh, I thought you said, sorry, that's fine, I'll make it.
I'm like, you made the motion.
Yeah, I
She
did.
said
I did, but I heard wrong what she said, so I thought you said making it after I did.
He said, she said, no.
All right, what I heard was, I have a motion by trustee Rumble and is supported by trustee DePalma
Yep.
to approve the principles of township governance excellence for Charter Township of Brandon as presented.
Yes,
Correct?
correct.
That's what happened.
Yep, just like that.
Okay, any further discussion on this? Okay, we'll do a roll call.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. No. All right, next on the agenda is the 2019-2020 school year, school liaison contract. And it's pretty much the same contract that we've had in the past or for the past year. The cost increases that for the contract with Oakland County Sheriff's Office is put into this contract. So the amounts increase slightly from last time.
I'll make the motion to approve the 2019 to 2020 intergovernmental agreement to provide a police liaison officer for Brandon schools from September 3rd, 2019 through June 12th, 2020 as presented.
I'll support it.
Those are the right school dates.
Those are the ones Matt Outlaw gave me.
Okay.
Yeah, school starts the
And
next day.
just to let the board know, I've given this to the school superintendent, Matt Outlaw, and he is okay with that. Okay.
Except for the township contract. Should number 4 though be 2020? Just noticed that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So make that motion as amended, number 4 to 2020.
But wouldn't it, if it expired June of 2019, wouldn't
No,
it
no,
pick
no,
up from June
No,
2019?
no. This number 4, that's for the Oakland County Sheriff's
Oh,
Office,
Yeah, I'd
okay,
say that's,
not for
okay.
this one.
Gotcha.
And that we
Kinda
are
like number
approved
2 also.
through 2021.
Okay, we're good, okay. Motion is this.
By the way, we need that blue pen, Candy, sorry.
You can do blue pen, Chris.
this is sad, we only have one pen between us.
One blue one.
Here, guys.
How did the supervisor sign?
I have my own blue pen. Okay, I have a motion by trustee DePalma and is seconded by trustee Rumble to approve the 2019-2020 intergovernmental agreement to provide a police liaison officer for Brandon schools from September 3rd, 2019 through June 12th, 2020 as presented. Any discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Allen,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordova.
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. So now, next item is a resolution for uninterrupted continuation of Enbridge Line number 5 and construction of new Enbridge Line number 5. And I sent all of the information that Jay provided for backup to the board. Some of it I put in my packet, but I'm sure Jay might be able to answer any questions if anybody has any.
One,
So basically, this resolution is resolved that the Charter Township of Brandon, Oakland County, Michigan requests the Office of Attorney General for the State of Michigan support the uninterrupted continuation of energy transfer through Enbridge Line number 5, as well as the expedited processing of any easements needed to construct the proposed new tunnel agreement between the Mackinac Straits Corridor Authority and Enbridge Energy. And Jay, I just wanted to say that we've dealt with Enbridge quite a bit in the past, and we were always on the negative side of it, so it seemed like. But one thing we never did, the reason they came through our township was to replace an older line, and we never argued the fact that it wasn't a good thing to replace a line because we didn't want to have any leakages going through our township. But it was quite an ordeal for a few years.
well, that was one of my questions is that, and I talked to Jay about it at the end of the last meeting, is that if they did shut this down, would that affect our line? Would that affect our property taxes? And they just put in that new line, so then all of this work that they went through and all of that, did you ever get an answer on
I
it?
did not.
I
couldn't
pursued
find,
that, but,
you couldn't find an answer.
yeah.
But it could, I mean, if they shut down that line, I don't know how they all
Wait,
travel.
Line 6B comes through our township.
Okay.
So I don't know,
That's, yeah, east of
How-
us, isn't it?
yeah, I don't know
But
if
if they're
there's a
not-
connection or not, but I don't think
Right.
it would have any influence on property taxes.
Well, not property taxes ours, but what we're paid, the personal property taxes that Enbridge has to pay us.
Oh.
If they're not, if it's not flowing anymore, like if line 5 gets shut down and it affects the flow to 6B.
That would be an assessing question.
Right. I just didn't know how that
Because there's
impact-
value placed on the pipeline
line
itself.
Yeah, but I didn't know if it would affect our flow that comes through here, and a lot just went into that, so I support this. I was just,
As much as I dislike Enbridge, I support this as well.
well, people look.
Isn't that the company that was, the one that was negligent in the Great Kalamazoo River?
Yes.
Yes, yes, they have.
Yeah, that was pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But this
Good.
line serves to stop that from happening in
Correct.
in the straits,
Yeah,
That's good.
which would be a lot worse than that.
Right, and I think that's why when it happened in Kalamazoo, we thought if they want to replace our lines here and make it better, we didn't want what happened in Kalamazoo to happen here, so
Right.
we were for the replacement.
right,
Can I speak to that real briefly?
sure.
Just a quick comment.
Yeah. Come on up to the podium.
Yeah, I was also concerned about the Kalamazoo, and I met with their vice presidents in charge of Americas for Enbridge about 2.5 years ago. And the problem in Kalamazoo is lack of detection, and that does not exist in the Straits. They've actually got things that measure if there's a drop in pressure, and there's all kinds of inspections. There's this mechanical thing called a pig that goes through the lines looking for any kind of damage or anything. So it's a different situation from Kalamazoo. I think Kalamazoo went on quite a long time before it was even discovered. Once it was discovered, they took a long time to shut it off. So there's more sensitivity up north. Thank God.
And I think that overall, they have more sensitivity since that incident.
Cost
Everywhere.
billions of dollars.
Okay, any other discussion on this item? Okay, who would like to make a
I'll
motion?
make the motion to, as written.
All support.
All right, I have a motion by trustee Marshall, and it is seconded by clerk Allen to adopt the resolution to support an uninterrupted continuation of energy transfer through Enbridge Line 5 and expedite construction of a new Enbridge Line 5 as presented, and direct the clerk to send a copy of the resolution to Attorney General Dana Nessel. Okay, any other discussion or comments?
Yeah, just one question. Between Snyder and Enbridge, they came up with a plan to put a whole new line in there, underground, with a seal around it, another. When is this going to take place? When are they gonna build this?
Apparently.
Is there a timetable
Well, the
established?
Attorney General is trying to put a stop to.
I know, but I mean, was there a timetable established to
I
begin
don't-
with?
I don't know. what
Between
the-
Snyder and Enbridge?
I don't know, Jay, do you know?
I don't, it just said she filed a suit on June 27th, and they just stopped work on it.
But they had an agreement,
Yeah. I don't know.
but there was no timetable as to when it was gonna happen, or?
I don't know that information. I'm sure there was, I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Be happy to look
Just
that
was
up.
wondering if, yeah, if you find out,
Okay.
you can send me an email, I
I
appreciate
may
it.
be curious.
Yeah, thank you. Very good.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? Okay, the the suggested motion as was just read, roll call please.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. And that, now we move to our policy amendment for the senior van wage increase, and everyone should have something that was put out in front of them this evening, and it was sent to you previously. And it's just to amend the wages, part-time and full-time, for senior center van drivers. and that's on the back side in red. And so the ending pay after 3 years is pretty much the same. Also, we do no longer have a full-time senior van driver, so the wages that are being proposed will not affect anyone. We do have, I don't know if we technically have, we do have 2 part-time and then some temporary.
So if we don't have a full-time driver, do we necessarily need to change those numbers?
Well,
What are we changing?
we're hoping to hire a full-time.
Okay.
We're looking to hire
Okay.
somebody.
And we just wanted to make that kind of
Yep.
consistent with the part-time. And the reason for raising the part-time wages is because they've been increasing the minimum wage at a pretty good rate, but we haven't been keeping up with that. And this is one of the jobs that are at the lower end of the scale, so.
Mhm.
But if we do a wage increase here, how's the rest of the staff gonna be? Because I know that's always a concern when we do one thing, and it was brought up when we were hiring for other positions of, well, if you're raising their wage and not doing it for others, so I'm
But
just
if you look
concerned.
at our clerical wages above it, you can see that their wages are more.
Much higher.
I see that, I just,
Just
Sorry,
wondering,
when you do one
we
or
have
the other.
just 2 part-time drivers right now?
We actually have a permanent part-time person who's been on board with us for a long time. I'm gonna say 7, 8 years, possibly longer.
Oh, part-time.
Yep.
What does part-time mean, how many hours a week?
It varies because the need for the driving varies for
Okay.
every year.
Part-time would be less than 25 hours a week, because if we hire for 25 or more, it's part-time eligible.
Okay, so it's less than 25 hours a week.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
And there, in going through this process, there seems to be some questions about our temporary wage scale and what a temporary employee is, because
First part-time employee.
for example, the officials or the directors of each department can hire temporary employees without coming to the board for approval. But a temporary employee is not someone who works throughout the year, they only work for a short duration of time.
Right.
So for instance, Tyler was actually hired as a temporary employee. Now we're bringing it to the board to be approved for a part-time employee. We also have some senior van drivers that are hired temporary, and I would imagine they'll be coming to the board for approval for part-time.
Okay.
But I think I might be bringing back another policy amendment just to make that a little more clear, because there does seem to be a little bit of confusion about that.
Yeah, good.
so what happens for the van drivers too, when we do raises in the fall? Will they get an increase then too?
That's what we'll discuss when fall comes and we do our budgeting. Okay.
So you said we only have 2 drivers that would be even affected by this currently, because they're 2 part-timers.
We have, no,
3.
3, sorry.
3, yeah.
Okay.
Huge raise.
We have 4 drivers total, so the one that's been with us a long time is already at the max.
Okay.
She's at the 14. So it would affect 3 people. And we keep putting ads out in the paper for looking for more,
Mhm.
and we're not getting them as soon as they hear the wage. They're not willing to work for that amount. Start out at 10.17.
Maybe you don't want to drive around those troublemaker seniors.
Oh, no,
Party boss.
that's not it. It's a tough job. They're helping these seniors in and out of the van and up to their homes and
Right.
help carry stuff, groceries and such, and it's not an easy
Yeah,
job.
it's not just driving.
No, definitely not.
okay, so would someone like to make the motion that's being presented?
I will, as presented.
Support.
And that was you,
Yep.
All right, I have a motion by trustee Rumble, and it is seconded by trustee Marshall to approve the policy amendments for 2.2 of the General Employees Benefits Manual as presented, beginning with the next pay period on August 12th, 2019. Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call please.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously.
First, last time.
That's because Darnell wasn't
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that's why I was confused. I was like,
Oh, that's Terry's turn to go first.
yeah. I mean, I don't care that I went first, it's just typically we rotate.
Did catch that.
Terry's.
I caught it too, and I was wondering,
Yeah, I was like, wait a second, what's
why
happening?
wasn't I called first?
Okay.
I caught it too.
All right, at this time, we will take citizens' comments on any item. So if you would like to make a comment, we ask that you stand at the podium and direct your comments to the board. We will be happy to answer any questions at the end of the meeting. Please state your name, and although it is not required, we also ask that you state the city, township, or village in which you live. Comments shall be courteous and limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Vernon Scott, live in Brandon Township for 62 years. Our family's been here since 1846. What I'm here tonight is the gentleman went out and picked up all our signs from our farmer's market, our farm market on Seymour Lake Road. Which, you know, we've been there forever. They don't bother anybody. We've done, you know, what Bill wants every time he turns around. But when I come to get them, they're gone. Your guy that picked them up said he put them by the dumpster. They're not there. They're not in the dumpster. Who's going to pay for almost $1,000 worth of signs? 3 of which were on my frontage of my property. The other one, I have permission from the gentleman at the corner of Seymour Lake and Baldwin to have it there. And I don't think it's right to go out and pick up signs on a Friday when you got all the garage sales going on Saturdays, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But I don't care about their signs. I want to know who's going to pay for my signs that are gone.
We can talk to you about your questions after the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Lieutenant Glover with the Sheriff's Department. 4 things I wanted to talk about just real quick. One was the road rage incident on Sashaball, where the construction worker was struck. That was a resident that lives on Sashaball that did not like the direction he was being given, decided to proceed forward, bumping that employee, sending him to the hospital. We know who that individual is. We're dealing with that. I didn't do a 6-month report this year because I was off work when I had knee surgery. However, I pulled some quick numbers. We're at about 4,000 calls for the year. At the halfway point, last month alone in July, we had 594 calls for service, which are dispatch runs. It's putting us at about 148 calls a week, roughly, depending on the week. I was also approached by Faye from the Senior Center about doing a scam or fraud class for the seniors that attend there. I agreed to do that. I'm gonna do that in September. We're still being hit constantly with these scams. They seem to target everybody, not just the elderly anymore. So we're gonna talk about that, things to talk about over the phone and try to at least control it in our community. I also want to thank you guys for the liaison contract. I still think that's one of the most important positions within our substation. The contact with those kids is huge for us. Their trust, things that we get out of that, things that they get out of it. it's a real big plus to have that position. I'd hate to ever see that position go away. It really deters a lot of things that we don't have to deal with. And also because of having that school liaison as a second detective in the summer, really helps with our detective bureau caseload, so that not everything's all dumped on him. I mean, our caseload that comes out of those schools is very significant. And that liaison takes the brunt of those. So again, I want to thank you for that. That's all I have.
I know this is just a comment thing, but if I may, sure. You said we were at about 4,000 mid-year.
Yeah.
What is that compared to last year?
We're right around the same as we were last year. Last year, I believe we were just under 8,000 calls
For the whole year?
For the year. Yeah, so we're right about the same mark this year. Yeah, and I also want to comment too about the fireworks. That fireworks crew, I mean, I grew up out here, and that was probably the largest amount of people I've ever saw in this community. And it was a great crowd. We had not one incident of somebody being, disorderly, no fender benders, no accidents. It was a great crowd, very well run. Good. Thanks.
Lieutenant Glover.
Oh, no, my question was the same as Bob's.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, I had a question, but it's Bob's question
Great
too.
times.
Comparison to last year.
All right, thanks. Take care.
Is there anyone else? Yes, yes, ma'am.
I'm Tiffany Bella from Brandon Township. I just wanted to ask for example, as a member of Brandon, when I was at the last meeting, we were told that we would be meeting with the Planning Commission on July 23rd. And it was in the newspaper too because they were here. So I was announcing to our city, our township, that we would be meeting that day, and then nobody came, and it kind of made me look like I don't know what I'm doing either. And I want to make sure that I know what to tell people when I'm asking them to come support a cause. So what I noticed is on the website, when I come to look at the township side of things, it's really clear. I know what's going on. There's an agenda that says August 5th. I know what's going on, but maybe the Planning Commission could do something else, because I wasn't aware that they don't just meet every month like you guys do, so that maybe we could all be more in the know, I guess, on what's going on. And that's all I wanted to suggest today. Thanks.
Okay. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Hi, how are you? I don't really need this, but I'm afraid to fall. My name is Nadine Demetrician, and I've lived in Brandon Township for a little over 30 years. And when I first moved out here, my neighbors told me, well, I just want you to know that we shoot guns. And that was fine. Don't have a problem with that. However, what has been going on is there's a lot of guns being shot off now on a regular basis. And I guess it's like, okay, but it feels like you're in a war zone. It's very scary, especially with all the stuff that goes on today. So I just want you to know, I've called the police I don't know how many times, because it seems like sometimes some of these people are doing it, and they're doing it all day long. I mean, they're not hunting, they're shooting, and it's pow, 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 and it's guns that I don't know why anybody needs a gun like that. And I don't know, I just wanted to share that, and if there is something that we need to do, because it's scary. I mean, if there's people that have been in the service, I'm sure that would be stressful to them. I've not been in the service. I can kind of tune it out, but when you even have your house closed and you can still hear it, thank God we don't live in a war zone. Why should we feel like we have that going on? So I don't know where else to go with this. The only other thing that we've had a problem with in my home is the fireworks. And I know that they are allowed certain times, but we've also had people shooting them off after. And I hate to be the one that calls and complains, but if I know that you're not supposed to shoot them off after certain dates, then they ought to know too. And I don't know if there's some way that the police can put out flyers or something to the areas that they're doing this in or not. And I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I think it's really important. We have a horse. I know other people in the area have horses. When those fireworks go off, he looks like he's been running for 5 miles. He's totally crazy, and it takes him a week to kind of get back to normal. And to me, that's like cruelty to animals. You know, be respectful of your neighbors. My one neighbor did not do it this year. There happened to be new people in the area, and they've shot him off when they weren't supposed to. So that's when I called the police. But like your fireworks, because your fireworks that you had out at the park are so wonderful, I've heard about them, but I'm afraid to leave our house because, believe it or not, even though it's that far from me, I live on the 3/4 of a mile west of Baldwin, you can hear all that, and he freaks out even from that. I'm not saying not to do that. I can respect that. People should be able to have some place to go and observe those things. But being that we have that, I don't know why other people need to keep shooting them up. And that if there's something that we could do, if petition-wise or something, I'd like to know that. Thank you for your
Right.
time.
Nadine, you may want to speak to Lieutenant Glover after the meeting.
Oh.
Because I do know that they'll come out and check.
They have. I feel guilty to call them all the time. And I'm not the only one. I'll check with my neighbors, and they feel the same way, especially about the guns. And I said, then call, because right now it looks like I'm the one that's a kookadook. And, you just kind of feel bad, so.
I'll talk to you afterwards.
Okay.
We have had this brought from court in the past.
Good,
over
yeah.
the issue.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to make a comment this evening? Done. So that brings us to board comments. 3 minutes per person. Let's start down with Jason.
I don't have anything else tonight, thank you.
Okay. Trustee DePalma?
Nothing, thank you.
Okay. I just wanted to say that the planning commission meetings are set up on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of the month if there is something that goes on the agenda. So they don't always meet this twice a month, but those are the dates that they have set aside in case there is a meeting. So I'll speak to the building department, we'll see if we can expand their circulation of their agendas, because you get an agenda, don't you?
Well, I get notices too, and to address the lady's point is I got a notice that July 23rd was canceled. Unfortunately, it sounds like it didn't make it to the website for whatever reason. We need to Stacy can do that, I'm sure, and that's basically communication, and we need to do that.
Well, I think that went out because there was some question on whether or not there was a meeting that day.
Well, yeah, in any event, yeah, the bottom line is that it should be on our website. Really, it's like a meeting was canceled, it was scheduled for the 23rd, but it was canceled, so that people don't show up here and
Right.
there's no planning commission here, that's ridiculous.
Okay.
Well, and I wonder, part of the issue though is she was told it was gonna be on the 23rd, and then it wasn't, and no one told her, and it was supposed to be regarding her issue, so I think
Yeah.
that it should have been followed up with the resident too.
Right, and I think
And it was
we
even
were
paper.
talking that we would bring it to the next planning commission meeting, but they haven't had one yet, so.
Yeah,
No,
just-
but
That's
you told us the date last time we were here.
When I came the next morning, there was a note on the door saying that it was actually canceled that night.
Oh,
Okay.
that's why I put it in my phone a little too early.
Okay.
I followed it.
And if you would like to give me your contact information after the meeting,
Yeah.
then I'll get that to the building department.
Thank you.
Okay.
I do have something. August 1st was Purple Heart Day, and I don't know if you've all seen the signs that are in the village at each end for, we have Purple Heart Highway, due to our commander, Dennis Hoffman. And this coming Wednesday at our library, August 7th, they're having a presentation for the Purple Heart. And also, we have Boy Scouts going to be there to retire flags. So if you have any used flags, drop them off either here at my office, and I plan to go, or make a reservation and come and see some of our military heroes.
Can we just bring them there?
Yeah, yeah. It's a nice presentation.
Yeah.
What was the date on it again?
August 7th, this Wednesday, 7 o'clock. I know you're supposed to make a reservation online. Okay.
Two things, I guess they're actually sort of interrelated. We're all aware of El Paso and Dayton. The cops down there did an incredible job, especially Dayton. Those guys were on top of it within 30 seconds. I just want to make sure everybody in the community knows how lucky we are to have the sheriff's department here. Those deputies do an outstanding job. LT, thanks. Please pass along to the troops my sincere thanks for them. The other thing I was curious about, it's been over a year now, and I submitted the M15 for a section through town here to be dedicated to the deputy we lost. Has anybody heard anything about that?
I can comment.
I thought it went through.
I haven't heard anything about it.
That did go through. The only thing that we've been waiting for is actually from the state to actually pick the day to dedicate it and to put the signage up. And it was approved. I testified in front of the House and the Senate for that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, Sheriff Department, and they, from I-75 and M15 all the way to county line, it would be the Eric Overall Memorial Highway.
Great,
Will
thank
you
you.
let us know when that dedication's gonna be?
Yeah, we've been waiting to hear, we just haven't heard.
Okay.
I will.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, trustee Cordell?
I have nothing. Bob asked the question that I was going to ask, so
Okay.
it was answered.
All right. All right, since there's no further business, would someone like to move to adjourn our meeting?
So moved.
Support.
I have a motion by trustee Marshall and is supported by trustee DePalma. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Both say nay. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you, Scott. I'm gonna go home and try this right now, tonight.